At the Hellfire Club, you get some coochie, you get some coochie, and you get some coochie, you get some coochie. Vegas posed a major concern in the opening scenes, one that we've all been talking about during their hiatus, and what does this teddy bear have to do with saving Orlando's life? We're going to dive right into it all in just a few moments, but before we do, let me just say that the overarching theme of the return of the family business, it did two things. It picked up right where it left off last season, naturally, and it also did one hell of a job with establishing the tone for season 5 altogether. After covering almost every episode synopsis that was available to cover, I feel like we saw them all play out in the opening of these first 2 episodes, which was a great way to market each plot that was going to take place. So let's get started. LC let the Dixie Mafia know that he ain't to be played with. Ruby and Little Vincent are on the run. Junior is somebody's daddy. The Duncans got thrown out of Sage's funeral, and Rio just stepped into a pile of you know what. So let's get into the recap of Carl Weber's The Family Business Season 5, Episode number 1. The episode opened with a dual celebration of sorts. The table officially all convened at LC's office, which happens to be on this lavish yacht. They welcomed Vegas home from prison, and LC also took this moment to introduce 2 new table members to replace the Lee brothers and Corey Black, who were all killed off last season. Everybody wasn't too happy with them being replaced, and it wasn't so much their replacement that was the problem. The issue lied with the fact that LC is looking to expand their operation to the Dirty South. Now, Vegas really appreciated the welcoming committee, but we could see the entire time that he was a bit uneasy during the whole meeting. And honestly, me and Vegas were both on the same page here because he began questioning the loyalty of the members of the table. His spidey senses kicked in once he got on that yacht, and I guess he could feel the betrayal rising as everyone began to arrive. And I think that he's not too far from the truth, unfortunately. Vegas is picking up on what LC may be missing. And it's like I said in my previous videos, is that LC knows that there is no honor amongst thieves. He knows that someone sits in that room who's gonna betray the Duncans. He told Vegas that they don't have too much of a choice, and that trying to sift through who's loyal and who's not like they're playing duck, duck, goose was not an option. So with this void of the absence of 2 table members, LC filled their seats with a couple of familiar faces, one being Consuela, Senior Cruz's baby sister, who runs a whorehouse down on 5th and Savoy. He told the table that Consuela and her new BBL has an information network that's very beneficial, not only to their partnership, but to them personally, because every partner now has a lifetime discount at the Hellfire Club. You get some coochie, you get some coochie, and you get some coochie, you get some coochie. And yeah, he pretty much said all of that except the coochie part. We can take that out. And on the surface, everyone was pretty much cool with that, but it was when the next table member was announced was when Sebastian had something to say. LC bought in Sheriff Katie Shrugs from Texas. Y'all remember Bobby Ewing from the show Dallas, who shot JR? If you know, you know. This is when Sebastian's draws got all in a bunch, but KD spoke up for himself, and he told Sebastian, look, don't get too fancy now, because I'm the reason that you were able to move them 30 keys down in Jacksonville, and your ass ain't go to jail, so you can stop all that lip service and heavy breathing over there. And because LC wants to not only keep the operation flowing in South Florida, where Sebastian's turf is, turf, do we still call it turf, y'all? Y'all know I'm old school, so I don't know. But he also wants to expand to Arkansas, Alabama, Texas, the Carolinas, and Northern Florida, etc., etc. And Sebastian is all the way offended, so he feels like he has to protect his position in Florida. He stood up to LC and said, look, with his whole chest, mind you, well, if you give me more product, then I can show you what I can do with this expansion. Sebastian then wanted other table members to have his back, join in with him on his rebellion against LC. And he told LC maybe we should take a vote to see who feels the same way that I do. And what did he do that for? LC said, nigga, I'm the HNIC up in here. You don't get no damn vote. So you either sit your ass down or get the fuck out. And right here is where we see Elsie blow up for the first time. And this is going to set the tone for the rest of the episode. This is the energy that Elsie is going to carry throughout. And I don't know, we're going to find out why he's on edge a little bit later. Now, later on that evening, Elsie sat down to dinner with KD. Well, they sat down to have some potatoes because Elsie got frustrated and left before the main course could come out. Did y'all see how much money Elsie threw on that table? Did y'all see it? Woo! Girl, made my head spin. That was a lot for a dinner, right? But anyway, Katie told Elsie that Vegas being released from jail is causing all kinds of problems down in the South, particularly with this other inner circle criminal named Jonas. Now, Jonas told KD that in order for him to keep quiet about Vegas, that he got to pay him $5 million, right? Elsie was not happy with any of this, of course, but he told KD, how can we trust that Jonas is going to keep quiet? KD reassured him that, he's going to keep quiet because I'm a partner now with you and I sit at your table, so I'm going to make sure that he does what he's supposed to do. Elsie got up to get the $5 million and threw the money for the dinner and the tip on the table. Now, later on, we see Elsie face off with this Jonas character who was then demanding that in addition to the $5 million, that he wanted $1 million each and every month. Then he started calling Elsie boy. Boy? Okay. Elsie said, all right then. And he dropped him off. Just like that. And the gangster part about this face-off for me was after he grabbed the bag of cash, he answered the phone call from Chippy. See, Jonas pissed Elsie off at the wrong time. Elsie was built up, right? And that's one thing you don't do to a man who's built up, because all that aggression is going to release and come out one way or the other. And it may just come out as anger and be released in the wrong way. But we now know that KD is definitely the one to watch as far as the table goes, right? Check. This next scene with Junior had me thinking about the time when your mama went out of town and you had the house all to yourself, then you call everybody over for a house party, right? This is exactly what Junior did. He called Consuela and ordered 2 oars from the club, 1 chocolate and 1 vanilla. And right in the middle of their party, Sonia and the baby came over. Sonia was looking all cute, innocent, and very pregnant, and she carried their baby to the door with her in this red small box. Junior opened the door, but he didn't welcome her in for obvious reasons. And now we kind of know why he told Sonia to stay at the house with his fake family. He thinks that she's just as fake as they are, and he told her not to be coming over there trying to buy his love. See, Junior's mind is headed in one direction and one direction only. He has disassociated himself from his family and from anything else that looks like family, hence his wife Sonia. So from now on, throughout season 5, until he goes back home and start acting like a real Duncan, this character has to come with a warning and a disclaimer. The disclaimer will read, this character's trust issues have been compromised. So anticipate unpredictable actions and be warned that any decisions that he makes may be questionable. That's how we have to look at this until he heals, right? Then he pretty much brushed Sonia off and told her to never come over there again unannounced. Little Vincent got released from the hospital to go to Disneyland, but he has to go back to see the doctor in 2 weeks for some scheduled infusions. Now, from this scene, we can speculate that some time has already passed because Ruby alluded to the fact that she may already be pregnant because she seemed to be relieved that Vincent will have a sibling soon that will help him to heal and be well again, right? So when they left for Disneyland, Vinny's cousin came to the hospital looking for Vincent, Orlando, and Ruby, announcing that he was the cousin of little Vincent's father, while at the same time, Orlando came back to get the teddy bear that Vincent had left. And he saw that the good doctor was being held at gunpoint by Vinny's cousin. And had he not went back to get the teddy bear, he would have been caught off guard when they were waiting at the funnel cake line at Disneyland. And who wants to die in the funnel cake line? Vegas called him in the nick of time to put him on game. So he called down to the car and told Ruby to run with little Vincent and to follow through with their plans. He also told her that there was $200,000 in the duffel bag in the seat next to her. See, this is what I love about the Duncans. They're definitely going to take care of their women and their children. And they're also going to be a little giving and liberal with them bags. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Now, this next scene was very typical and very mother-like, right? Two mothers playing matchmaker, trying to force their children into relationships like those arranged marriages back in the day. But this scene was very well done and very necessary. They had to establish a time and a place for Chippy and Rio to get carjacked, and this was the perfect setup. Turns out that one of the guys who carjacked them was LoJack's nephew named Brandon, who was apparently hanging out with the wrong friend. And we know Rio. He was ready to flex his muscles, show off his targeting skills, but Chippy said that she didn't want a lot of bloodshed over this, right? So he had to pull back. So we all know from previous episodes that LoJack can chop up a car like a Japanese chopped chicken. So they took the car to him to break it down. But LoJack knew exactly who the car belonged to, probably because Chippy's name was prominently displayed on the tag. So he took the car back to Duncan Motors. Now, Rio couldn't really get at LoJack at that moment, so he went and staked out at his place, right, to rock his world, but only to be stopped by the fact that his sister London is now in a whole relationship with this dude, right? So he still has to put a hold on his revenge for now. Then we had the introduction of these now infamous blue roses that we've been talking about all week. Paris knows who they're from, but doesn't really mention it here in this episode, as the sender of the roses is supposed to be dead, technically. And then we had another underlying storyline, little Mariah smelling herself. You know, she ran away from home, she got scared, then she ran back. But she's upset because Harris, her no-good daddy, hasn't been seen or heard from in a while, and he's not replying to her messages, so she's pulling all of these stunts to get him to respond in some way. She's having fights at school, she ran over to Raven's house, went away from home, ran to this hotel, then she called Nevada to pick her up in the G-Wagon. So rough life, right? And to be honest, guys, I'm really not sure if that part actually happened in episode 1 or 2. I was looking at these episodes with one eye open and one eye closed. It was like 4 a.m. here, okay? So that last part about Mariah may or may not have happened yet, okay? And the final part that I want to talk about is the funeral or the memorial for Sage. Paris's world was about to get rocked by Dominique herself. And I thought they were going to have to pull out another casket from the back for a minute. The way that she went off on Paris. And as soon as they arrived, but wait, before they arrived, we see Alexander Cora sitting there with the family. And I guess he's just accepted the fact that Antonio is now smashing his wife. And I don't know if he's just cool with it like that or if he's grieving for now. I don't know. But either way, Antonio has assumed the boyfriend role by comforting Dominique and greeting unwanted guests. He just done took over, period. And ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Aries also went over to remind Vegas that he's supposed to be standing on business by keeping his family in line, and that it was understood that they didn't want him hanging around because they see it as if Paris and her friendship with Sage is the cause of her being killed. But in their line of work, how are you gonna blame her for being friends? Now, granted, London did ask Sage to have their back, but she didn't tell Trisha Shooter, Brother X, sorry. In all fairness, when you're grieving, you want to blame somebody, right? You don't really want to believe that your daughter went to the most elite finishing school and that you spending all that drug money on top-notch trainers have failed you. Sage couldn't keep up. And that was that. I mean, they're all in the same line of work, and this is the life that they all live, a very dangerous one, in fact. So don't blame someone else because Sage lost her life in the game. That's unfair. But Paris walked her pretty little ass out that memorial when Dominique showed her that she was not playing with her, right? And that concludes this recap, you guys, on episode 1 of Carl Weber's The Family Business, season 5. I love you guys for being here, for your likes, your comments, your shares, your subs, and I appreciate it. If you're a fan of the show, just like I am, then go ahead and sub to the channel for more recaps, just like this one. Y'all stay tuned for the recap of episode number 2, and I'm going to see you on the next one.